All right, hello and welcome everybody. Chris and myself are excited to show you our new QA Farmer mobile app. And so we'll walk you through this today. We want to start out with just saying hello and doing some quick introductions if you all on the call are not aware of maybe who we are or what we represent here at FarmQA. So Ben Munson, and I'm an account executive here with the company. Been here for 10 years, and I'll be walking you through kind of the agronomy side of this new app and how it ties into kind of existing functionality. And I will pass it over to our CEO, Chris Polson, to give his intro.
Yeah, hey, thanks for the intro, Ben. Like Ben said, I'm the CEO of FarmQA, Chris Polson. Excited to be on the call. We launched this app with really the farmer in mind and their relationship with their consultant. How can we tie the two things together? And I'm excited to walk you through it here today.
All right. So with that, a few housekeeping items. We just want to make everybody aware of our upcoming webinars. So as you can see here on the screen, December 9th is our next webinar. So coming up around the corner, and that's going to be more of a generic what's new. And so there's a lot that we are building here at FarmQA over the past 12 months. And with that, we want to try to get that exposure to you and go through those functions. That'll be an on-demand webinar. So if you sign up, you'll get notified when that recording is available. And so with that, please sign up and make sure you get access to that. And then as part of that, it's also going to be available on our website, as you can see there. And so making it very accessible to you. And please reach out with questions as we go throughout. So today, actually specific to questions on today's webinar, you can use the Teams chat and we'll be moderating any sort of questions that come through. And we also leave some time at the end to address any specific questions as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chris and he'll walk through kind of the first half of the mobile app. And then towards the tail end, I'll take it back over to talk through the agronomy tie-in. So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ben. One thing that I really want to talk about is on the front end before we even show the mobile app is we're doing a brand refresh amongst like FarmQA. So now FarmQA is just going to be our company name. So it's not going to be the product name anymore. And the rationale there is as we grow as a company and expand our product line, we want to make sure that the naming convention makes sense. So with the launch of QA Farmer, which is our new farmer-facing mobile app, we felt it appropriate to kind of reset and do a nice brand refresh as well. So you'll also hear me talk about what's coming next. What QA Farmer used to be is now going to turn into QA Advisor. Same platform, so nothing to worry about for anyone of anything major changing. It's truly just logos changing and the name and the way that we talk about it going forward. So just a name change. Then also we have QA Farmer. That's the new app that we're going to walk through here today. It's for your farmers, not only to communicate with you and have an effective way of sharing information back and forth, whether that's scouting reports, recs, what have you. We also have some other additional things in there like weather markets and bin inventory storage. The demo today, we're going to go through the 4 basic tabs of the particular app. One other thing too that I wanted to mention here on the front end is the offer that we have running until the end of the year. So if you sign up any farmers, whether it's 1 or 1,000, you could get 50% off of what the cost of QA Farmer is today. If you guys like what you see, and you could either reach out to us or you figure out how you want to self-serve yourself to get online as well. There'll be availability of videos and fact sheets to help educate your growers. We're going to help arm you guys with whatever it is that you need to see if it's a fit for your customers. We're going to try to make this as easily as seamless as possible. You guys are used to the white glove treatment here at FarmQA, and that's how we're really going to handle this rollout too. And we really appreciate you guys being able to tune in today to learn more about the app and to see if it's a fit for you and your clientele. So I'm not going to take questions quite yet. I'm actually going to shift to my phone and share the actual application itself. Okay, so the big thing is once I didn't think that you guys would have to really see me log into the application. Once you log in, you'll notice that you get 4 big tiles here. This is the home screen, and it's the things that we can help you with within the app today. You'll notice weather, grain prices, agronomy, and bin storage. Let me give you a little history of why we built the app. The real reason why we built the app was 100% driven off of feedback we got from you, our customers. And it was, either the current customers loved the app, our current customers didn't think our current app was for them because it's very agronomic heavy, or just no one was using any application whatsoever. And people wanted a communication tool to make it more streamlined with their clientele on how to get them information around, scouting reports, rec writing, but also have that feedback loop. So one of the things that Ben's going to show later today is how now you can send them a report or, show them what you scouted, and it'll automatically tell you when they viewed it. And then also they can mark like a rec as completed. So now you get that feedback loop. You log into what will be called QA farmer, or excuse me, QA advisor, and it'll actually tell you if something was done or not. So that feedback loop that you're looking for, we completed some of that for you as well. And then once we got that feedback that we should have this tool that connects farmers with agronomists, we're like, okay, what are the value pieces that farmers are really looking for? We surveyed about 50 farming families, asking them, what things would you like to see in an app? What are you currently going online to find information on that would help your farm? Got a ton of feedback. Boiled it down to about 12 farming families that we worked with while building the app to kind of make it what it is today. The feedback came through loud and clear. It's got to be big buttons because I have big smashed up fingers. It's got to be just purpose-built grain, weather, and storage for me. Not flashy, not glitzy, no ads. Don't make the buttons too small. Don't make it where I have to do a ton of mental gymnastics to get to where I wanted to be. So that's really where we landed on what we built. So with that in mind, I'm going to walk you through what you should probably do to get started. Once you get into the home screen, what we're hearing from a lot of the clientele, we launched this back in middle of September. We've had thousands of downloads already, and the early feedback is really around alerts and how valuable the alerts have really been for the clientele. So the way that you would set up alerts within our system is in the upper right-hand corner, we see the person icon. You select that. It's going to bring you into this next screen where it's, okay, what exactly are you looking to do? Are you looking to go into settings, find the privacy policy, license agreement? You want to invite a friend to the app, which we think would be great. In this particular case, we're going to settings. So I select settings. In here, you can actually see a few different things. So at the top, this is where you're just picking your theme. So what's the color palette, really, if you will, of the application. I have mine set to auto. So depending on the light situation, it's automatically go back and forth between light or dark mode. But if you select dark mode, I'm currently in light mode, you'll notice that it changes fairly substantially. Some people like dark mode. I personally prefer light mode, so I'm going to stay there. And then below that, you see alerts and notifications. This is where you really set up the big value drivers when you log into the system. So if you click weather alerts at the top, it's going to ask you, can we use your location? The answer is, yeah, well, I'm using the app. This way, it'll know where I'm at and give me accurate weather. Here are the different things that we can alert you of. It could be extreme cold, extreme heat, fog, hail, what have you. You pick what you want. These alerts can come via text, they can come via push notification, or you could do both. We have some people that really ask for both. Once you have these set to where you want, you can notice I can toggle in between them. Okay, you're signing up for alerts. Yes, I agree that they can send me a text message. It's going to ask you for your cell phone number. We have to ask. That's part of the deal. I'll submit my cell phone number. Great. Now I'm going to get whatever text alerts I just signed up for. You only have to do that once. You don't have to do that every time you make an election. It's really once we have your cell phone number, we do save that. Now, if you come into grain price alerts, there's a couple things to note. There's closing bell, midday, and opening bell. So what this is I'm going to show you in a later screen which crops you can select. And whatever crops you select, that's what you're going to get this information on. So now the value here is we're constantly watching in the background for your clientele what the markets are doing. So they're busy, right? I mean, farmers are some of the busiest people I know. I mean, they're masters of many different trades. They're working on stuff. They're doing finance. They're marketing grain. They're doing all these different things. They don't always have time to be watching the markets constantly. There could be some big swings pretty drastically. This is our way of kind of lazily watching the background, what's going on, and sending them a notification 3 times a day. You can opt in or out of any one of them. And then we also allow you to set your own price targets, which I'll show you later in the app as well, really to help people hone in on their specific cost of production and allow them to get alerted to when something happened. So let's back out of here, go to agronomy alerts. So in agronomy alerts, this is the stuff that Ben has, but there's 2 things that we could alert someone to. It's, hey, is there a scout report available? Is there a recommendation action needed to take here? And then also this goes 2 ways. So if you send it to them, they can mark as done or view it, and that comes back. And then if you log into what will be QA Advisor, you'll be able to see if something was completed or viewed. Logging out one more time, and then coming into the spray alerts. Underneath here, I'm just going to set up, I want spray alerts. So this is interesting. So this is our first light lift take at helping people understand if they have a good window or not a good window to spray something. Picture this, it's not very warm, not very humid. I have to go spray Liberty Link. We're probably not going to be very successful, right? Because we need that temperature up there. We need that humidity up there to really activate that product and make it be more effective. Or, am I going to get too much drift? Am I spraying dicamba? Do I have an inversion issue? Like all of these things, this is our first take at helping people understand when there's an appropriate window to spray. And we have a clear go, no go, red, green map for you on an hour by hour basis based off of your location of any of these parameters that you set. If one of them is not met, then it'll tell you that you shouldn't spray. So I'm going to set a couple parameters here. I'm going to say 10 miles an hour. We'll call it, I don't know, 17 miles an hour. Well, let's make this 12 miles an hour. So this is the range I want to be in for today specifically. I'm going to hit save. Okay, now it's going to monitor for me, but you could have selected any one of those. I'm going to back out, hit back a couple times. Just go back to the home screen here and pause for just a second. Okay. I'm going to show you guys the grain marketing tab actually first. So I'm going to go into grain marketing, and it's going to log you in. You'll notice there's this warning in the middle of the screen with this countdown going. So that's nothing's wrong. What that is us disclosing that these prices aren't live. We're on a 10-minute delay based off of when we're polling the elevator specific grain markets, which is unique, right? A lot of people don't do that elevator specific in multiple elevators at one time. It's kind of our claim to fame, if you will. What we're saying is that that's not live information. It's on a 10-minute delay. So if you call, in this particular case, we can see here is Dakota Plains Ag, and say, hey, I want to sell at 773. They might say, hey, it's 370. Because the price could be different based off of the 10-minute delay. So that's all that's saying. But once you come in here, let's just say you hadn't already set up the app like I have. You would actually come into a screen that looks like this. So when you first log in, you have to set your crops. Not only will this show you the prices at the elevator of these crops, this also tells us which crops you want us to send opening bell, midday, and closing alerts to. I have corn selected. I got soybean selected. I got wheat selected. Let's throw another one on there just so you guys can see that they get added. Let's go barley. Save that. After that, it says, hey, where are you located at? Which elevators are you interested in? So I'm actually located by Castle, North Dakota, which postal code is 58012. And I just want to look for elevators that are, I don't know, let's go 20 miles from Castleton. I hit search. This automatically updates. You scroll down. You notice I already have some selected here in blue, right? So you see Arthur Companies in Air. You scroll down, you see Emden Grain. That's the locally owned grain elevator. Maple River Grain Agronomy and Thurlson Ethanol Plant. Well, I think I want the soybean crush facility, which is Consolidated Grain and Barge. Let's select that one too. Click next. So now when you come out here, this brings you back out to the main screen. So if you're concerned with corn, which is in the upper left-hand corner selected in blue, and you scroll down, here are all the elevators that you selected that actually have corn, that will receive corn. You notice consolidated grain and barge is not here because it only has soybeans. But now this is showing you actively what the prices are at each particular facility and what the basis is. So now you can compare side by side, where you're getting the best deal. Obviously, Thurlson's the best here. Come up here, you can select your delivery month. Maybe I don't want to haul this month. I plan on hauling in March. So now you stick to March. Now you come down here and you'll notice, hey, what's going on here with Emden Grain? Emden Grain actually doesn't receive corn in March. So if they don't actually have an active bid, we don't give you an active price. But you'll notice, okay, where am I getting the best deal here? Oh, Thurlson's still about 10 cents better, even if I haul in March. You could seamlessly toggle between crops. So now I can switch to soybeans. Come down here. Now you'll notice at the bottom, consolidated grain and barge is there because they do take soybeans. And you also notice they are the best price. So it seamlessly allows you to view different prices side by side. But we even take it a step further. So let's go back to corn. Oh, at the top, what I should show you is I'll scroll over here. You'll notice I added barley earlier. Barley's up at the top. I didn't actually select any elevators that actually take barley, but you kind of get what I'm getting at there. If you look at the futures price, you'll notice the futures price of corn today at this particular point in time is $4.48. And below that, you'll notice that there's two other prices, $4 and $3.25. What that is are previous price targets that you set. So you can either select one of those, come in here and edit it, which, let's say cost per acre is $3, expected yield, or cost per acre. Let's go 9. Actually, let's go to the other one. I think we should go to the other price target. So you go to the other price target, and you'll see it's $3, what the cost per acre was, and then you come down, and then your alert, you set at $3.25. So you can track that side by side here, or you can come in and hit the blue button, which is set new price alert. So you come in here, and you go 900 for your cost per acre. Expected yield is 180. So now your break-even analysis, because we give you a light break-even calculator here too, is $5. So let's just set a price alert when it hits 525. Set alert. You'll notice that the I hit 8 by accident. Well, you guys get it. So it's 528, $4 and $3.25 are the new price alerts here as well. Shifting gears, I'm going to go back to the home screen by just hitting the back in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to talk to you guys about weather. So I'm going to select the weather tab, come in here. I'm currently located in Fargo. I allowed the app, once I logged in, to use my location while I'm in the application. And it logs you into where you're at. I'll show you how to add other locations here shortly as well. But you'll notice at the top, it's just giving you the current weather like you're used to seeing. Max temp today is 21, minimum's -9, Burr. It feels like -4 right now, so obviously it's not very warm. But you kind of come down the screen and you're going to say, man, what's the red and the green? Here's the stop-go map that I was talking about as it relates to knowing when and when not to spray, right? Based off my parameters, it says I got a window now between 1 and 2 that would be suitable to spray, and a window between 4 to 6, and then not again until to the next morning, I believe it got to it. Maybe not. Maybe it just stays windy. So that's what we're doing there. That's also your hourly forecast. You could turn the red-green spray off whenever you want, and it'll just be normal colored tiles. In the hourly forecast, typical of what you would be expecting to see, we have the daily 10-day forecast, fairly standard between applications you might be using today. Then you come down here, and now it gets to be something that you probably don't see a lot of, and that's our long-term forecasting. So you'll see some applications that go out 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90 days if you have one that's really going out there some distance. We actually go even further. We go a full half year. So we do weather predictions out 180 days, and you look by different months, and you'll notice different things change here. The average high lows, precip totals throughout the course of the month. If you select one of these, it expands to additional information for that particular day, what the average temp's going to be, max temp, minimum temp, average wind speeds, etc. we find, and I know what you're thinking, like, oh man, you're going so far out. I don't know that I trust that information. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I find it to be about 65-70% accurate. Um, it gets you pretty close, but it's interesting. There's been a few different days on the calendar where I've marked it down, like it says it's going to be this, and it's like 2-3 months out. And then when it hits, I'll look, and I would say, a good 2/3 of the time, it gets you where you'd say, yeah, it was right pretty far out. Maybe it doesn't nail the exact high or the exact low or the exact amount of precip, but it nailed 1 + 2 degrees on the temp, a couple tenths on the rain, something like that. And you keep scrolling down, you're going to notice that there's a couple key things. So like I said earlier, this app was built by farmers for farmers with all the feedback that we got. Our engineers built this specifically for farmers with their feedback. They said these 4 things are pretty pivotal to them: humidity, wind speed, precipitation, dew point. So there's additional charts that we have down here for those particular things. Hourly humidity, we chart wind. You'll notice, okay, it's gonna be pretty windy here coming up, but then as the day goes on into tomorrow, the wind will die down some. So we have that as well. If you scroll back up to the top, I want to talk through a couple of different things. If you select the hourly, so just hit the 1 p.m. tab, it expands to more of a chart view. So you could scroll up and down and see hour by hour with additional information, percent chance of precipitation, wind speed, average that hour, plus the direction it's coming out of, and roughly what the sun condition is going to be. Same thing, you come out, you could select one of the days, the 10-day forecast. It's going to populate more information for you. All of these categories are specific to what farmers told us that they actually care about. We went into a bunch of different weather apps, talked to some of the weather app providers themselves, and they've got, oh man, everything under the sun, right? And we asked those 12 farming families, like, what are the things that you actually care about? What are impactful? And these are the things that bubble to the top. There might be a few things missing. We recognize that, and we can always enhance this, but this was our first stab at it, because you'll notice it's super sleek, super clean, easy to consume, and that was intentional. People didn't want the glim, the glam, the glitz, I guess, of something that's the shiny object. It just straightforward, give me the information I want to get in, get out, and get value out of your app. You could swipe right to left. I'm doing this with my thumb, or you can select the buttons at the bottom, hit the previous day, or the next day just by actually toggling with the button themselves. If you come up here, close to the top, there's this search bar where it says go. So you come in here, and I could type in, let's say, Castleton, North Dakota. That's where I'm from. It's going to go out and find all that information, and now you'll notice that everything's changed in here to what it would be for Castleton, North Dakota. If you hit the hamburger in the middle of the screen at the bottom, it's going to expand, and it's going to say, oh, here are the 2 selected locations. Now you can toggle back and forth between the 2. I switched it back to Fargo. Looks like I have quite the delay from what I'm seeing to what's actually coming through on the meeting. Actually, my screen didn't freeze, but it looks like it did on that. Oh, there we go. Now it came through. And you can swipe back and forth, right to left, and it's going to take you to Castleton, back to Fargo. And then in the upper right-hand corner, hit that little radar button, and we're going to have radar like you would expect from many different other locations or weather providers. We have a legend to explain like what the colors mean. You can hit play to see time lapse over time. I think you guys know how that works, so I won't bore you with that. I'm gonna hit the back button one more time in the upper left-hand corner to bring us back to our home screen and pause here for a second. Do we have any questions that I should pause for anyone on the team?
No questions at this time.
Oh, man, I'm just killing it. Got it. So I'm going to go into bin storage next. So I'm going to hit bin storage, and it's going to populate. You'll notice a couple things. At the top of the screen, it says summary. So soybeans and corn are the 2 crops that I currently have bins for. This is really basic. It's really intuitive on how you set these bins up. This could be on farm storage. It could be off farm storage. It could be at the elevator, if you will. I did see a comment come through. Can we do units that are Canadian versus US? Yes, we could do that. But let me show you how this works. So I have 3 bins set up here. You see bin 1, 2, 3, it's corn. Bin 2 is soybeans. Bin 29 is soybeans. How did I create those? In the lower right-hand corner, if you hit add bin, it populates these fields for you to fill out. Pretty straightforward. But let's just call this one bin 1 because I'm not creative. Crop type, let's go lentils. And then this is just a list. So these are all the things that are currently in here. But you notice there's this add crop at the top. All these things are where we can pull marketing information from, but we understand that there are going to be things that maybe we can't pull market information for, but you grow and you store. So we allow you to add whatever crops that you want from within this system. So I got lentils. Total bushel capacity of bin 1, I'm going to put at 100,000 bushels. What field did that come from? We're going to go, that came from section 6. Grain quality, these lentils are at 14.5% moisture. Oops, 14.5% moisture. The variety was 86V29. Current bushels in that bin, 85,000. Right, so we have some capacity. Now let's just say you hit the button too many times. Oh, I don't have 850,000 bushels. The bin's not even that big. We do throw you a warning that the current bushels is more than the total capacity. We will let you save it at above the capacity, but we do throw you this warning so it tells you that you're above. I don't want to be above, so I hit add. You'll notice that in the summary tab, it added lentils up there. We have soybeans, we have corn. But okay, well, let's just say I've got like 10, 12 bins, and I'm not 100% sure where everything's at. How can I filter that, Chris? In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see this filter button. I select that. It populates this filter. So now you can filter by bin name, filter by field, crop type, variety, grain quality, whatever you want, you can kind of filter by. So I'm just going to filter by crop type. I'm going to say I'm just interested in seeing soybeans, apply filter. Now it's just showing you the 2 soybean fields. If you said, okay, and then the summary at the top, once again, of the total bushels between those 2 bins added up. Let's just say, okay, this is great, but actually I hauled out of bin 2 today. So you come in here to edit, and you'll notice, okay, bin 2, it's soybeans, total capacity. You know what field it came from. You know what the quality was. You know what the variety was. But now I just hauled in 2 loads out of this bin. They're about 1,000 bushels a piece. So I'm going to do 2,000. I'm going to subtract that, hit this minus button, hit save. Now you notice everything changed here dynamically. Bin 2 went down, and then the summary also reflects appropriately. You can cancel the filter, and you notice your lentils and your corn all came back the way that you would kind of expect here. The drive in this whole situation with this app and this particular portion of the app is there's a lot of people in the countryside today that they still climb up the bin, look at the manhole, and say, it's 3/4 full. We got 10,000 bushels in here, and then he goes into a spreadsheet somewhere. Dad and son farm together. Dad farms separate. Son farms separate. They farm some together. They commingle grain. Dad needs to know how much grain is in that bin. Son isn't behind his computer to look at the spreadsheet, and it's just kind of problematic. Where now this could be in your pocket. Both entities can know exactly where they're kind of at, and you can forward market with confidence, or at least know what you're sitting on for inventory when you're going to talk to the banker, what have you. Same thing with the weather, purpose built for farmers. It was meant to be what it is. Then also with the marketing, which is one of the features that is probably the most prevalent in usage today. And the thing that we hear there is, man, you're just watching the markets for me when I don't have time to just be constantly glued to the TV screen or behind my computer, what have you. I know throughout the course of the day what the markets are doing, so I can understand the trends. And then also you allow me to figure out my break even with a basic break even analysis calculator. And then also allows us to watch for those market alerts to come throughout the course of the growing season and beyond. So that was the portion that I was going to run you guys through here today. Any questions for me on the first 3 tabs as well as setup before I throw it over to Ben to talk about how this product really will impact your guys' business and how you can communicate more effectively going forward with with your customers via our app, and then hopefully get some value as well. No questions. I will throw it over to Ben.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. I'm going to try to get my app up as well so I can show the agronomy piece. So let's share here. So as Chris mentioned, you show the 3 tabs available. So I'll show the agronomy tab. And this one is unique in the sense that it's the tie-in to your existing FarmQA software if you are a customer already. And so with that, I'm going to start my broadcast. Let's go in here. Okay, so here we go. Chris talked about the alerts already on agronomy, so I'll just touch on that real quick. So on the top right, he mentioned that little person icon and the settings that you can access. So that would be your ability to receive text alerts or push notifications or both. And so again, just to reiterate, this would be on the grower side. And so if you are listening to this webinar and you're an agronomist or an existing customer, you're going to have the ability to publish a report. What that publish does, it sends a notification to that grower that they have a new report from you, whether that's scouting or recommendation. And so with that, you have control over, you only publish what's polished and edited and ready for the client's eyes. There isn't this concern around they're seeing things real time. Maybe I did voice to text and it was real windy and there's a lot of mistakes in there. So there is control over that. But that publish button does trigger the alerts notifications, and that directs the grower to come in specifically to this 4th tab, the agronomy tab in the bottom left. So what I'm going to walk through today, I'm going to start on the mobile app and show you what that tab represents. But I will also kind of change to my agronomy hat and we'll show the existing functionality and how you can push data to this app. So that will be coming soon. So with that, I'm going to click on agronomy. Again, to Chris's point, we're keeping the app straightforward from a grower's perspective, trying not to overcomplicate or have too many clicks in. So with that, I am representing North Dakota Farms. I have reports and fields tab. In this case, reports is representing just that. So we'll click on that first, is reports that have been published and pushed to me from my agronomist. And so with this, I see a little delay in my phone as well here. It's showing my phone, but not on Teams yet. But with that, the All tab is going to represent every report that's been published to me for the current growing season. And so with that, now it's loading up. You see I've got a recommendation on December 4th, a scouting report the same day. The tabs across the top, if I click on scouting, think of that as a quick filter. So as a grower, if you may be saying, I just want to see recommendations and look back at what my agronomist told me to do, you click on that agronomy tab and that's what you're seeing. Now, any one of these reports in this case will represent, the same thing that you're potentially texting or emailing a client today if you're using the current software and sending reports out through those methods. We were taking that PDF and putting it into one of these cells saying this is a report. And where I'm going with that is this would represent, say, potentially multiple fields if that's how the recommendation was written. And so as I tap into that, you'll see that represented here. In this case, this was just a single field recommendation. And so clicking on it, I see the PDF representation of that. This is for North Dakota Farms. It's for Ben Field 2. And you can see the products, EPA numbers, rates, product totals, mode of action groups. And so with that, we won't spend a ton of time looking at the specific reports as these are the same as what they currently are in our existing software. But with that, you do have actions you can take. Or real quick, I can slide up and down to view the reports in here. Top right, you can see there still is an export if the grower wants to send this off elsewhere or to somebody else on the farm, maybe a farmhand wanting to take action with this spray. The other view here, we'll click on a scouting report. Same concept. In this case, I've got my scouting report, same PDF layout as we've always had. In this case, I've got the pictures, I've got the content, and then with this, I have the ability to zoom. So the comments came up around small text, and so with that, I mean, you can get this as large as you need to read that and see the content around plant date, growth stage, and that's all listed out here within the PDF. So with that, the reports tab is just that. It's showing you the reports, and in particular, this tab is intended to represent maybe a text chain that you might currently have with a customer where you're texting them a PDF report every week of what you saw in the field. It's now here. They can scroll back through time and see your records and go back to, let's say, click on the very bottom report here. Now I see a much older report. If the screen loads, there you go. And I've got, the grower has access to that at the tip of their hands. A couple actions that get taken here. So when a grower opens up this report, so again, let's think through the case of a notification, grower gets a text, they open up this report. This will then designate back to the agronomist that it was viewed. So simply the action of clicking on one of these reports and it opening marks it as viewed back to the agronomist. So think of it as like a read receipt on an email or text message. You now know it was opened. And then in addition to that, if we're talking about recommendations, that can also be completed. Now what this is my agronomist told me to spray this field with this product, and I hit complete. What I can do on this screen is I can designate a date and a time that was done. And so in this selection, I could say I sprayed it yesterday, and then with that, more specific around the time selection. So with that, I click OK. And now I have designated the date and the time, and I have the option to create a note in here to say, well, let's just put some note in here and save. So what this does, this is then generating what we consider a spray record in the current FarmQA system. So as an agronomist, you see the completion of that recommendation. We can show you on the current app of just the check mark system of it's been done. The value in that is the agronomist now knows maybe for re-entry intervals for safety, knowing when to go in. Additionally, on their follow-up visit, they could say, okay, did that spray I recommended have the efficacy I intended? And that decision might be based on when it was sprayed. And then looking at that from an agronomic perspective at the damage to the weeds and the kill rate. So with that, actions taken both on the scouting and recommendation side, scouting being viewed, recommendations being completed, and that can happen at the grower level. Second tab is fields. So clicking on fields, this is a list view. And so in this representation, I'm one farm or farmer. I've got, say, 20 fields that I deal with. You have the option to sort this by field name, by crop variety. In addition to that, you can search. And again, you'll see I got the 2025 season selected. So I'm just looking at the fields for this year. And in this, I could search a field name. So let's just say I wanted to look at Ben Field 2. It snaps in and I find that. I can also search corn, and now it shows me just the cornfields. Colors on the left do represent the crop, so you can quickly see that. And then within each one of these cells, it's showing you field name, crop, variety being designated. So if we go back to that Ben Field 2, so drilling in and clicking on a field, what I described the value of this being is the reports tab is more of a farm summary per week, if that's how you're pushing data to the grower as an agronomist. The fields tab is useful if the grower is saying, I can't remember what I did on this field 3 months ago. It's a nice way just to navigate into this field and have those records at your fingertips at a field level. But within here, we do show you some additional data. So Ben Field 2, I see it's soybeans. I know it's 145 acres. We show you the weather conditions, precipitation, wind speed. With this field already has a lot of content filled out as far as my variety, plant date, harvest date. Let's say those weren't set. Those would all say none. But I could then click as a grower, and I would have the ability to select a variety. And so with this, I'll just change the variety. And so if I select that, I now see that variety is designated. Better scenario might say it was none before. Now it's designated as the 1450 variety. Key comment there is that gets pushed back to the existing software. Agronomist then sees that change. So it's a real-time sync if the agronomist is online. they'd see this. So again, trying to improve the communication pipeline to get the information from the grower around varieties. Plant date, similar concept here. I have it set, but it pulls up a date picker. You select the date and click proceed. It now sets that. Harvest date, select the date, proceed. And again, real-time updates. So the agronomist is seeing that on the current software real time as that gets set. So additional benefit of at the field level, you can start to set those 3 parameters and have that get pushed back to your agronomist. Scrolling down, events. And so events represent, if you're a current user, our field journals or our event log, meaning if you planted, you harvested, you scouted, you sprayed, all those events are accessible here, which is why my scenario of saying a grower wants to look back at what he did this season on this field. These are your records. You can click see all, and then we list that out by date and by event type. And then within here, you can drill in and click on, say, recommendation, and see this is my Abound Affinity spray, and I had rates, totals, pricing's optional. And then with that, you then have a completion date. In this case, I already marked it as complete, pre-harvest date, rain fast, re-entry interval. And so with that, the ability to see that, in this case, I just mentioned how that was completed. So you can see that tag next to that recommendation. So the agronomist, well, the agronomist would see that too, but the grower can look back and say, yeah, I've done that, and that's a record. Additionally, if I scroll down, you can see notes, reports, and recommendations. So those are the last 3 tabs here. And what this allows you to do is, if I click on notes, there's kind of 2 note options for a grower. Internal, this is going to be a note that only they can ever see. So they could put something in here, a note, and they could save that. And now that note that you see it right there does not get pushed to the agronomist. It's only them to see it. And if I add a second or third note, that continues to build here as well as different notes tagged by date. External. So just like it's labeled, this is now your connection to your agronomist. And so as you put an external note into here, and this is kind of one large text box, kind of ever growing, that your agronomist can contribute to and the grower can contribute to, and they can both be seeing it at any time, real time. So as I add that note and save, now it says external note saved successfully. That is now available to your agronomist with that note in there. So again, the ability to log internal notes versus external. Reports in the bottom middle, that is access to your scouting reports. And so with that, it's similar to what we talked about before, it's just sliced to a field level. Now in doing so, this report originally maybe had 12 fields. And so with that, to show it at a single field level, we have a in-app report viewer. And that is just a way of saying we represent this data within our software directly, opposed to showing the PDF when it's at a field level. And again, just allowing us to slice that out for one particular field instead of having it be forever linked to the 10 or 12 that it was originally published with. All right, and so with that, the recommendations is the same, where the 3rd tab on the bottom says recommendations. And as I go through here and click recommendations, again, in-app report viewer, so our own representation of that opposed to the PDF, given that it's at a field level. The final kind of view in here is the ability to see crop plans. And so with this, I've got a plan set. Let me back out and come in here. So a crop plan would be our existing functionality of being able to, as an agronomist, lay out a plan for the year, designating planting, fungicide, herbicide, insecticides, fertilizers. And in this, you can now visualize that plan as a grower. So you see those steps in here being called out, and then as they get completed, we would fill in that check mark next to it, showing progress throughout the season. So with that, hopefully that covers the agronomy tab. I'll show the agronomist half to this of what their experience would be, but happy to take questions if there's any. I don't see any have come through yet. But again, simplicity, Grower has the ability to look at reports, which is, think of it as a farm level. Fields is diving in and seeing your records across an individual field, but also having the ability there to input additional data around variety, plant, harvest dates. Okay, switching gears or hats, if you will, I will now switch over and put on my agronomist hat. And let's see if I can get this shared. Okay, there's a few things that we've added to the existing software. And when I say existing software, this is the QA Advisor piece that Chris mentioned as far as the rebranding. So in here, this is the Benfield 2 field that we were just working on. So you see that corresponding crop plan in here. I'll kind of simplify this here. So the crop plan is something we talked about. The notes up here where it says 1, this now contains that random note that I added on the QA Farmer app. So again, Agronomist is now seeing that. I didn't have to sync. It appears now in that ever-growing text box. Events synced up as well. And so with this, you see the same reports that have been accessed on QA Farmer, or the event views should represent the same thing. In addition, that is now within here is this little eye icon. And so with that, I talked about as the grower opens up a scouting report, there's now visibility to the agronomist. And that's what this is representing, saying that this report has indeed been viewed. If I hover over it, it says the same, viewed by grower. Mobile app, similar concept there is within the mobile application, I now see those eyes as well. And so that's telling me as I scroll through this, what's been accessed from the grower side. Now, I talked about initially the concept of publish. So you as an agronomist, you have scouted a field. And so in my case, maybe we'll quickly do that. I come through and I scout. I fill out some content around maybe plant dates and a growth stage. Now, in doing so, I have a couple options. I can hit submit, and that does exactly what it does today. The submit does not push that report to the grower. The submit is now, think of it like it's an internal report. So only people that are internal to your agronomy company can see that. And that allows for edits, that allows for maybe a junior agronomist, a summer scout that's maybe puts a comment around saying, I have no idea what this weed is, please help me identify. Like that does not make it to the grower. The step that makes it to the grower is what I'll show here. So as an existing customer, you're accustomed to selecting reports. So in this case, this is a field or 4 fields. And as I go to generate the report, you're accustomed to 2 options down here, the share and open PDF. Publish is the third. So that's a new button that will only appear if you have QA Farmer growers. And so if you're an existing user and say, hey, I haven't seen that button yet, that's expected. We have to enable that if you have growers who use this new functionality. The publish button will respect whatever layout you have chosen for your PDF. And we did that intentionally of saying you've invested time into the layout. You like the actual view of that report with your logo. So that will get pushed to the current app in the identical fashion and view that you're used to delivering your reports to your clients. So the publish button is there. If I click it, it spins, and then as soon as I do that, this is what triggers the notifications to the growers. They would then get a text. They would then get a push notification depending on what preferences they had set. Additionally, you can also publish from the web. So the scenario of maybe I wanted to edit the report from the website, I could now make my edits, but in the same fashion of generating reports from the web as before, we now have the option of PDF, share, or publish. And so the publish is what's represented there. And then in addition to that, we also show you what's been shared. So this has been anything that's been published, it says yes. If it has not been published, it says no. So as a quick check, you can say, do my growers receive everything that we've done? And in this case, there's that yes, no column. And then viewed, same thing here. We'll make this more prominent. So the viewed is yes, no. That's if the grower has opened it. We show you a column there, and you can sort on that to say, I want to see any report that has not been opened. It now snaps to those reports. Same comment goes for recommendations, the ability to select and do a publish on the recommendations, and then seeing if they've been viewed. In this case, the complete, instead of viewed, it's the completed action of the check mark versus not, knowing that they've marked it as completed or not marked it as completed. So with that, I know we're coming up on the hour, so we want to leave time for questions. That hopefully encompasses the current application. The flow, again, very similar to what you're accustomed to, with the addition of a publish button, and the publish then pushes it to the app that I had just shown. And then the growers have access to the data there. I think we'll pause there, and I can loop Chris back in as well on this, and we can open it back up for questions here before we wrap up the webinar. I do see there's a comment in here. Okay. Will there be a limited amount of logins per account allowing employees to access farmer accounts? That's a great question. So actually what we're doing on that is we are allowing, say, an agronomist or an admin of an existing account to get access to QA Farmer. And so it's your simulation of a grower, I think, is what the ultimate question is there. Can you see what the grower would experience? And the answer is yes. You would have, it's your same admin role. You don't have to create like a fake grower account. It's your same login, just permission to QA Farmer to log in and see reports there. There's a secondary question to that. Will the grower app have an interactive map for growers to locate pins via GPS set by his agronomist? Chris, do you want to take that one, or I'm going to keep rolling?
You go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. So the short answer is no. We're trying to keep the QA Farmer app light, and intentionally with that, we stuck to a list view. We stuck to kind of the big button concept. But with that, what we're allowing access to is the web with this login with these credentials. And so the web would allow them to access that map if that's a need that they have to see. So that hopefully answers those questions there, but happy to answer any follow-ups in the chat to either of those two. But as I'm waiting for more questions, I mean, it circles into kind of our call to action at the end here, free trials. Like that's certainly what we would love for you to do, is we can get you access to the QA Farmer app. And even if you're an agronomist, as the question asked, we would still permission you, enable you to the app, the new QA Farmer app. And then with that, you can go through the actions of publishing on the current side, viewing that on the return side. There, Chris?
Yep. So I'm just going back to this, the call to action. You said, obviously, we want to get you signed up for free trial. To use the app, make sure that you like it, make sure that's something your customers would want. There'll be literature for you, videos to talk with your customers. We're here to help. It's unique. The rest of this month, though, it's half off, however many growers you want to sign up. So I wanted to just highlight that again here at the end, and while we're waiting for some questions to come in.
Must have crushed it, Chris.
We must have. It's looking good. We could end early. We don't have to go for the full hour, but last call for questions.
The thing I'd add into is that this is recorded. So people came late, or they might want to share this with other team members. This is absolutely recorded and can be rewatched and walk through. So as you're trying this, as you want to show it to others, you could use this recording to do so. But we'll also be coming out with literature to prepare you and allow you to articulate the value of this app to growers if you are an agronomist.
And to reiterate what Ben said earlier, call to action, just reach out. We'll give you a free trial. Just try it. 30 days free, no obligation. Obviously, within that first 30 days, if you want to sign up, even if it's 1, 2, or 100 growers, depending on who you are, you get 50% off each individual one that you bring up. MSRP cost is $199. Obviously, that gives you 50% off. So we hope you love the app. We hope it's useful. We know iteration one's never perfect, right? So give us that feedback. We definitely want the feedback once you dive into it. It'll only get better, but we're really hoping that we got pretty close and create something that's of value to not only you, but also your growers. Well, it sounds like we get at least 30 some downloads is what I hear here. So excellent. I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for the time. We'll be in touch. Take care.